This is Pull Request Hot Topic. Short and sweet and hard to beat. Pull Request Hot Topic is a quick shot of tech news, diving into one highly relevant topic each episode, with two techno experts, Eric Newman and Ryan Cwynar. Today's episode, recent revelations in robotics. Hello everybody, welcome to another Pull Request Hot Topic, a short and sweet little shot of tech news. But I'm not going to have a shot of anything because I'm under the weather. Across the country for me, as usual, is Ryan Cwynar. Hi, Ryan.
Hey,
how you doing?
Doing pretty good.
You actually brought this topic up, and this week has been an exceptionally productive week about robotics, or in robotics news.
Yes.
And there's that video of that Boston Dynamics thing. It's not a dog, but it's a humanoid robotic.
Yeah.
thing. What is that? It's called the Atlas. What is the
Atlas? Yeah. So Boston Dynamics is infamous for their collection of robots that can do sort of unnerving things. Atlas is their humanoid robot, and it seems like every 5 to 6 months they release a new video of it doing something increasingly crazier. Like the last time it was basically it doing parkour, and then before that they had a 2-legged robot like running through the woods.
Wow.
And then there was a video before that where they had it like picking up boxes and moving it around a factory. But
I remember seeing that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was, and then there was the cursing, the dubbed version of it that was actually like pretty funny.
Wasn't there also one where they tried to knock it down and it kept managing to not knock over or something like that?
Yeah. They have like the video that they put out about it, but there's a really funny version of it where someone did a cursing mod video where they dubbed the robot's reactions to being like prodded and knocked over, and it just like cusses at its handlers.
That's funny.
But the most
What's
recent...
going to happen when the government buys like 10 million of these?
Oh, that's exactly, like, that's the concern. It's so obvious, right? Like, if you have a humanoid robot that can run around and basically, like, do gymnastics and handle things and pick things up and just do general manual labor tasks, you can also certainly hold a gun and you can send in
You don't have to hold
Skynet.
a gun. The gun is going to be just part of your anatomy.
Yeah, like that Black Mirror episode with the robot dog that has the gun in its foot.
Sure, I didn't see that one, but yeah. I'll believe it. Yeah, that's great. I'm so happy for our future and the things we use for good.
It's one of those things. It's like it's half good. It's mostly good.
I mean, it could be used for good.
On the one hand, you can imagine it being this general purpose manual labor machine that we don't have. What
happens when there's like another protest in New York and the NYPD just unveiled 10 of these, and they just start marching towards the protesters in the opposite direction. What's going to happen?
Yeah, because they don't care if you hit them with or yell abuse at them. They just
keep going.
Keep going. They just hold the line.
Yes. Well, here's something. Yeah. That's like. Well, here's something a little more lighthearted. Hopefully. Which is that at MIT, also, not in Boston, but nearby, they've come up with a new robot that inspects random objects and can essentially sort them.
What kind of objects is it sorting?
It's called
just anything?
The Dense Object Net. Looking at objects as collections of points that serve as a visual roadmap. This approach lets robots better understand and manipulate items, and most importantly, allows them to even pick up a specific object among a clutter of similar-looking things. Valuable skill for the kinds of machines that will eventually replace you and I in the workplace.
It sounds like a machine learning. It's definitely a deep learning like vision task.
It's like Montessori preschool for robots.
Yeah.
And now, and it's kind of, I mean, anyway. So yeah, someone might use this dense object network robot to grab onto a specific spot of an object, say the tongue of a shoe. And from that, it can look at the shoe like it had never been seen before and successfully grab the tongue of the shoe rather than just clenching it on the side or whatever. And it's a novel approach in computer vision and robotics and how to manipulate objects.
Didn't you say there was something going on at NASA too now? Another
That's
robotics
right.
development. What's that about?
shape-shifting robot. This is even further away from at least the humanoid robot that Boston Dynamics has, and is already being used by an arm of the government, but for good things, which is that they just released, NASA this week released a press release, so that's redundant, for a 3D printed prototype called the Shapeshifter robot that can apparently roam around on all different types of terrain, and I guess it's just a really complex rover, if you think about it, an autonomous rover. But it looks like a drone made out of Kinects.
Okay, I was thinking of like Shang Tsung.
No,
the shape-shifting Mortal Kombat character.
No, because that's still humanoid.
Yeah, so this thing can become like any shape. Just becomes whatever it needs to be.
It can become a few shapes. Like I said, it's like Kinects plus a couple of drones, and they want to use it to deploy to one of the moons of Saturn, Saturn's moon Titan. Can it
fly?
If it's part drones, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I was wondering, it's like,
it's like two hemispheric things that can pair together to create a wheel, and it just rolls on top of itself, and then they can separate and become two drones and fly away.
So it's like BB-8, and then it can turn into BB-4. Split in half and become a drone, and become it can split in half and be BB-4.
That's right. Mm-hmm. And putting it all together, how about a nervous system with fiber-optic cable?
Okay, it sounds like a military airplane. Like a military airplane that uses a bunch of fiber-optic stuff to communicate things around. But
isn't fiber-optics everywhere? Or aren't fiber-optics everywhere?
What are they? So you say a fiber-optic nervous system is like on a robot that can just detect touch or
exactly,
thing.
But it detects touch through photons, and and this team created a sheath, they called it, of optical lace that essentially, when you press on it, will emit a photon that has the sheath. The optical lace has an input and an output stream, and when you press on it, they get combined, and you'll be able to tell precisely where something is, along with the intensity of where it is relatively to the interference between the two streams. So it will then, that type of information, being at the electrical level, will allow robots to be able to much better interpret all of the information around them and be able to kind of actually understand where their quote unquote limbs are. It's something that we as humans have called proprioception. We kind of know where our hands and feet are, hands and arms and legs are, without really having to look at them. And this kind of allows, or is a step towards that direction with robotics. It's very interesting. And it essentially replicates nerve endings with fiber optics and photons rather than... I mean, it's still electrical signals if you think about it for us.
Yeah, but we just have we have an emotional connection to them.
Well, that's our programming is a little bit more advanced.
Right now, still, for the time being.
Exactly.
This is
you put all of these robots together and you have a very mean machine that can...
Do you ever think it's funny how little time we generally spend thinking about robotics as developers?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of developers that work on robotics and on robots.
Yeah.
So,
but it's
we don't.
We don't. We also have but I feel like I should. I feel like I should have more projects where I have robot things. Nothing, I suppose. I just
go on. What is that website? Adafruit?
There's a kit I think I want to get off Amazon. It's basically like a little car robot that has a bunch of visual sensors on it and stuff, so you can deploy little ML models and have it like navigate a room, do like learn things about autonomous driving and.
Sure. I mean, what's really interesting if you think about it, we talk a lot in the industry about ML, machine learning, and AI, artificial intelligence, but we don't actually spend a lot of time talking about robotics.
Yeah, and it seems like they're I've had some ideas about things that I would love to make. Like imagine if you had, fast forward us a couple years, we have Starlink, we have worldwide internet. You could have like a little fish robot that's solar powered that just comes up to recharge its batteries every now and then. That just like goes around the world and gathers data and sees stuff and then just beams it up to the internet like every few hours, just like surfaces and connects. Like the amount of data that you could get just from that kind of stuff, like atmospheric, and the amount of like marine research that you could get done.
Right. It's like, it's like how they refuel planes in the air.
Yeah.
But you could just you could refuel the drone with batteries or electric or somehow, yeah.
And if you had the perpetual internet connection, I think is kind of what's special. Like if you
that's good. That I think honestly would be easier to accomplish than the perpetual charging, because we already have satellites everywhere and complex radios that transmit information. So
yeah, I mean they're a little bit hard to communicate with, because the ones that you can do that with are generally like geo orbit. But what's going to be special about like Starlink and some of these competing like OneWeb, these things that are going to compete to provide worldwide internet access, is that it will take a much smaller piece of hardware to communicate with a satellite in LEO orbit, is the idea. But I've also heard
LEO orbit,
low Earth orbit. So it's like only a couple miles, like a mile or two above the Earth's surface.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good place to end it.
Yeah, I think so. I think we've accomplished our goal for today's hot topic.
I think so. And why don't you join us later on, I guess this week, for an all-new pull request and another hot topic coming up soon. That's it. Have a great night.
Nice. Later, folks.
See ya. This has been a Pneumonium production. The views and opinions expressed on Pull Request do not necessarily reflect those of Pneumonium LLC or its subsidiaries.